Well, we give just a few more minutes before we get started. Get settled in here. Feel like everyone has made their way in and gotten settled, so let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Mastering Efficiency, Unlocking the Power of the BBB Response Portal. I'm Tristan Gomez, Regional Account Manager and Solutions Representative here at the BBB Midwest Plains. Before we begin, I'd like to share a few housekeeping details. Today's webinar is being recorded, and you'll receive a follow-up email that includes a recording of the session and the presentation slides. These resources will serve as helpful reference for a guide for the future. If you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A section. We'll address your questions by the end of the presentation. We are very delighted to have our Vice President of Operations, Denise Groen, leading today's session. Denise is a seasoned professional with nearly 14 years of experience at the Better Business Bureau. Throughout her tenure, she has demonstrated exceptional strategic leadership and operational excellence. Her areas of oversight include dispute resolution, vetting, data quality, first responders, and trade practices. In today's webinar, Denise will showcase the BBB Response Portal, a tool included with your accreditation. The Response Portal is designed to simplify the process of managing, viewing, and responding to complaints and customer reviews, helping you make the most of your accreditation. Without further ado, let's get started. Welcome, Denise. I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Tristan, and thank you all for being here today. So before we hop into the response portal and describe how this can be of benefit for you, first it's really important to understand why would you want to respond to a complaint? Now, obviously, as an accredited business, you are required to respond with a good faith effort to a complaint when they come in. But even more importantly, it's the fact that integrity is the most important consideration of all age ranges. And part of integrity is to do the right thing even when no one's looking. So, regardless of if a complaint has not been filed with the BBB, or perhaps it did lead to a filed complaint with Better Business Bureau, having the integrity to respond, show that customer service is a high priority, is going to be a win for your business. So a few things here for complaint communications. If you are a new accredited business, or maybe you've been with us for several decades, you may be familiar with some of our processes and maybe you're not. So when a complaint is filed through the Better Business Bureau, you are going to receive an email communication. It looks similar to the screenshot you're seeing here on your screen. There'll be a link in the email. It'll have a code, and then you will log in to view the entire detail of the complaint, as well as all of the verification and email that the consumer have provided to the Better Business Bureau. You certainly can respond directly from a one-off email that's received in reference to a complaint, but as you'll learn today, there's a more powerful and more efficient way to respond to BBB complaints and customer reviews. So our solution, as opposed to having to keep an eye on your inbox every day, say you're out on vacation, you may miss an email from BBB. We created a solution, a one-stop platform where a company can view any complaint, any reviews, even if it's maybe something that you responded to 2 years ago, you can still go in and access that information. And this is what we call our BBB response portal. So accessing the portal, you have two options. You can log in with your business login. Once logged in, you'll see the response portal tile over on the right-hand side. Clicking that will get you access directly into the response portal. Say you're a company that has a higher volume of complaints due to the size and scope of your company. You also have the ability to respond directly to a URL that you can then bookmark. This is beneficial, especially for businesses that may have a team of people who are responding to complaints and reviews, and that is respond.bbb.org. So this is a quick overview. When you log in, everything is color coded, so it's easy for a business to understand what may need attention, what's new, incoming, anything that's maybe you've already responded and the consumer submitted a rebuttal. So if it's in red, that's telling you that there's some urgency. We need a response. When it's new, it's going to be green because you still have some time to maybe do some research, do some due diligence before you're ready to provide that business response. This tool also allows you the capabilities to view trends. So you can run reports by resolution code, meaning how it was answered. Is it resolved? Is it invalid? Was it information only? You can also use this statistic area to show complaints by category. So your team can see, 77% of the complaints that came in last year were for billing and collection issues, 17% customer service issues, especially if you're a business that really is honed in on your KPIs, your key performance indicators. These are some great statistical reports that you and your team can run. So I'm now going to hop in and do a live demo so you can see the actual portal itself.
Denise, while you're pulling this up, I think a common question we always get is what's the difference between a complaint and a review? Can you go into detail about that?
I sure can, Tristan. So a complaint is when a consumer is asking Better Business Bureau for assistance. So typically, it could be I was overcharged and I reached out to the company. I haven't heard back. It's been 2 weeks. I've left emails, I've called and left voicemails, and I'm just trying to understand this overcharge. So you could be asking BBB for assistance since you're not getting a response directly from the company. A customer review is a testimonial. So it's a consumer just sharing their experience as opposed to asking BBB for help. So as an accredited business, we do require you to respond to all complaints. While we encourage you to respond to customer reviews, it is not required. And you may have seen some of our communications on the benefits of responding to customer reviews. A consumer is more likely to do business with you in the future. And essentially, responding to reviews, you're not only responding to the person who left it, but you're responding to any potential customers who are online and reading the review somebody else may have submitted. So reviews and complaints are different. And just keep in mind, with a complaint, you are required as an accredited business to respond to that. So once you log in, whether that be through the business login or through that direct link we talked to a few minutes ago, this is going to be your main screen. So it can look a little bit different in reference to the color-coded boxes, but this is a test company we have set up. So this one here is showing if I was a business, I have 2 complaints that require a response. I also have 1 new customer review. So to sort through this, you can click on your box, and this is going to give you your case ID number. It's going to just ensure that this is your company. Tells you who the consumer is, the date that it was filed, and the status. It also has a countdown over here. So if you've seen one of our complaint communications before, the first complaint communication is going to give you 10 calendar days requesting a response. After that 10 calendar days, BBB is going to send you another reminder as a follow-up to that complaint. So part of being an accredited business, one of the 8 code of business practice is to be responsive. So ideally, we would like to see that response within 10 calendar days. However, we do understand people take time off, or maybe it needs more research, so you need more time. So you can see your days left here and gives you a little bit of a countdown. So for this one, we want to see what Phillips Roberts complaint's about. So we're going to click on the case ID. This has some information for you explaining, why are you receiving this? What do I do? And as you scroll down, you're going to be able to see what the consumer's complaint is. So this particular one, it's a bee company, so they have submitted a rebuttal. They do not want another shipment of bees because they'd already got rid of their beehives. So for you as the business, you can respond directly by clicking this link, or you have the option if you want to provide information to the BBB before it gets sent to the consumer. So let's take a little bit deeper dive on this. This tan color box here, when you submit that to the consumer for the first time, if you're responding to a complaint, that response is automatically going to be sent to the consumer. Say you get a complaint. In this case, say Philip Robertson is not a customer of yours. You dug through your CRM, you find no record that you've done business with Philip Robertson. Perhaps he filed a complaint under the wrong company. In that case, you're going to want to let BBB know we have no record of this customer. Or if there's additional information that you don't want to share directly with the consumer, however, you would like the BBB to be aware, this is going to be the box you want to click. So say that's not the case, you're ready to respond to the complaint, you're simply going to click the link. You can include attachments here. And then this box here, this is where you are going to type specifically what your business response is. As you scroll down, once you click that proceed button, that means that this complaint has been responded to and will now get sent forward to the consumer. So let me click out of here and show you a few more examples of how to navigate through this. Say it is a back and forth. Typically, if a business responds to a complaint, a consumer then can submit a rebuttal. They can accept your offer of your first initial response, or at times we don't hear back from the consumer. So just as the business has 10 business days to respond, the consumer does as well. If we do not hear back from that consumer within 10 calendar days, the complaint will close out as answered. Now, there are times, especially if we have a consumer who doesn't have an email address, we're mailing them communications due to the delay of mailing as opposed to emailing. There could be times where a complaint closes out and then we later reopen it, say 3 days later, once the consumer received your response and submitted a new rebuttal. You will be alerted of that through your emails. And it'll explain why the case is being reopened. But as you scroll down, you can see all the communication methods going back and forth between the business and the consumer. If BBB sent you a message through the portal, you will be able to see all of that here. You can also see anything that has been submitted through an attachment, whether that be a PDF or a Word document. You can also contact the BBB using this communication button here. And you can also print this complaint. And I want to mention print this complaint because at times we do get requests from businesses wanting a hard copy. So this is an easy way for you to go access it. Maybe things, were resolved through BBB, but later the consumer took the business to court and you want record of that communication. You can simply log in and print all of the communication that is tied to this particular complaint. If the complaint is closed, you're going to see it here. It'll tell you it's closed. There will be no further actions for next steps. So let's go into another complaint here. So this one, you can see now that you responded, the status changed. It changed to consumer rejected offer. It'll tell you if you need to do something, kind of like awaiting your initial response. So this one would be an example of a complaint that the business has received, but we are waiting on a response. So very similar process. Once you click into these complaints, you can respond directly from this link, or you can let BBB know some additional information. I will tell you, majority of the time, this tan box is going to be your best avenue. It helps to expedite the process. And if there's nothing you need to say to the Better Business Bureau that you wouldn't tell directly to the consumer, that tan box is going to be your best bet for the first step. Also, keeping in mind when you use that TAM box, BBB can still see your response. So, needless to say, it doesn't go directly to the consumer and the BBB's out of the mix. We can see all communication between the consumer and the business. Now, let's go look at this customer review that come in. So, this one here, it's going to show you your star rating. Just like a lot of platforms, the star rating could be from 1 to 5 stars. And then it's going to give you the context of what the review states. So, great service. Glad I went there. And as I mentioned before, it's not required at this time to respond to a review. However, it is highly encouraged. So you can say something as simple as, thank you for the great review. Doesn't have to be, anything lengthy. It's just showing that you as a business are engaged. And we do post not only the consumer's review, but we will also post the response that you left for that review as well. So other potential customers can see that you are a business with high customer satisfaction and responsiveness. So as you saw, I typed it in and submitted my response to the BBB. Let's talk a little bit about publishing of complaints and reviews before we move on to the statistics part. So on publishing for a complaint, if a complaint is received through the Better Business Bureau by mail, or there's attachments that are tied to a complaint, we will not publish that. At this current time, our system does not have the capabilities to publish attachments. However, if there is attachment, say it's photos, it's a contractor complaint, the consumer submitted photos showing the work performed, we would go ahead and publish that complaint because the context itself outside of the photos would be enough for somebody to read and understand the complaint details. For a customer complaint, you will not see anything published online until that complaint is closed. And once it's closed, we would ask, to give BBB at least a week to go through and get that published online. For a review, when a review comes in and we forward it to you for your opportunity to respond, if we do not hear from you within 5 business days, the review will automatically appear on your business profile. So keep that in mind. There is a delay on the reviews from publishing simply because we want to give the business the opportunity to make a comment, make it be public, but also give you the opportunity, if there is something BBB needs to know about that customer review, that it's not published prior to giving you that opportunity to let us know. An example of that could be a former employee who maybe got fired due to whatever reason. We do not take complaints or reviews from employee-employer relations. So if somebody was fired, they want to go write a 1-star review and let everybody know that they dislike the company. They don't always let us know that they had been fired. So keep that in mind. You may have information we're unaware of. That's why it's important to reach out to the BBB and let us know. If it's a positive review, of course, every business wants those to be published sooner than later. To help expedite that process, that would be a good opportunity. Leave a business response. Then we have that verification that you received it. You understand the review came in, you've left a response. You will no longer have to wait the 5 calendar days to get that published. So before we wrap up here, I do want to show, we talked a little bit about during the presentation on PowerPoint, the statistics for complaints. That's located here on your left rail under complaints. And you can go in and navigate the summary, complaints over time. This gives you, ultimately you can put in whatever sort of, criteria you're wanting for the report. So we will just go in and add some dates here so I can show you what this looks like. So this is going to show complaints by date closed, which this one Since it's a fake one, doesn't have any closed. You can see opened. You can show all. So here's all of your stats over here. Once this loads, you can see there's 4 open complaints. There haven't been any closed. Your average days to close, obviously, once they close, that number will fill. And you saw in the presentation, we have different graphs as well. So if you click over your complaints by over time, you can see some bar graphs. So this is a great tool, like I mentioned, to utilize for KPIs, or if you're looking to improve your customer service and customer satisfaction, hop in here and run some of these statistics. So that way you can see what areas of improvement you have some opportunities in. So that's an overview of our response portal. If you have any questions at any point, my contact information is on this PowerPoint. You're certainly welcome to reach out to me directly. I'm happy to help. And so at this point, Tristan, do we have any questions?
Yeah, let's get into them. A few questions that have came up and even came up in the past is, can you go over again just how long you have to respond to a complaint?
Yeah, so initially the first communication is going to ask that you respond within 10 calendar days. Now, we want to work with businesses just as we do with consumers. If you need an extension or you're not certain how to respond, please reach out to us. Our dispute settlement staff is happy to help. And there are times where maybe you need to get with a vendor or a third party to have all the information in order for you to provide a response. Just reach out to us, keep us in communication, and we're willing to work with you.
Awesome. And then what happens if a complaint cannot be settled between the business or organization and the consumer? Because we want to make sure that everyone gets what they want, but we don't want the business to be struggling trying to figure out this complaint and a consumer that's just not happy with what's going on.
Yeah, Tristan, that's a great question. So typically, our rule of thumb is we do not want to have to keep going back and forth, right? I mean, at some point in time, it has to either be closed, meaning the business has made a good faith effort and the consumer is still unsatisfied, or as an accredited business, BBB does have the discretion that we can offer arbitration. It's a binding arbitration. We have a third party arbitrator. They are not on BBB staff. BBB is simply the host at that point. But that could be another alternative resource if BBB sees a complaint that both parties are being responsive. However, maybe eye to eye and a resolution is just not going to be met until a third party reviews it. I will say 98% of our complaints are closed through conciliation, meaning the business and the consumer through BBB as the neutral third party to bridge both. They get closed as answered or resolved. And we get it, right? We've been doing complaints since 1912. We fully understand that some consumers are never going to be satisfied. And in those cases, if BBB reviews the complaint and sees that the business has made a good faith effort, the complaint will close as answered.
Amazing. Denise, so much great information and so valuable. Thank you again for just giving your insight. I think this is so beneficial to businesses. But before we wrap up, we'd like to share some exciting news about our monthly business newsletter. This exclusive resource is tailored for accredited businesses and includes valuable information such as industry insights, scam alerts, discounts, and updates on local BBB events, whether in person or virtual webinars like this. You can also find our events throughout the year by visiting our website at bbbinc.org. On behalf of the BBB Midwest Plains, we extend our heartfelt thanks to all of you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us for today's webinar. We hope this session has answered your questions about the BBB response portal and provided clarity on how to use this tool effectively. A special thank you again to Denise for her excellent presentation and walking us through the functions of the response portal. Her insights truly highlight the ease and value of this tool as a part of your accreditation. Before you go, we'd greatly appreciate your feedback. Please take a moment to complete a short survey by scanning the QR code on your screen. Your input helps us continually improve and provide the best possible experiences. As a reminder, you'll receive a follow-up email within 24 hours, which will include today's webinar. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.